Welcome to Sister Talk TV show. I'm your host, Deetra Kelsey. Yes, we have some hot topics. I mean, they're hotter than July, and it is July in New York City, and we are in the middle of a heat wave. So these topics are certainly hot. We'll be talking about the Supreme Court overturning Roe versus Wade, the January 6th committee investigating the January 6th fiasco event, the bum rush the Capitol. I don't know. We'll be talking about also the mass shooting in the shootings in the USA. What's up with that? I mean, come on now. Brittany Griner, she's still locked up in Russia. Will she be getting out soon? Also, R. Kelly, my sisters, yes, my sisters. You all think that sentencing was a little bit too much, over 20 years. I want to know why. Also, we'll be talking about Monique. She gets the Netflix comedy special. Oh, wow. It's been a roller coaster ride with her. We have breaking news. President Joe Biden has gotten COVID. Fully vaccinated. With me to discuss all of this is Star Davis. Star Davis, she's the actress, owner of UCAN Media. Star, how you doing?
Good. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Okay, next we have Rhonda Handsome, returning Sister Talk friend, actor, director, and comedian. Rhonda's in the house.
Delighted to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
You know, I can't wait to get your view on that Monique getting the Netflix contract. Maury Moss, how you doing, Maury?
Hey.
She's a community activist and I have to say, and a fabulous singer. Maury, how you doing? And thank you for coming back to Sister Talk TV show.
Doing well. Thank you for having me.
Let's move on to the Supreme Court overturning Roe versus Wade. I mean, it was a 5-4 decision. It was a landmark ruling. I don't think even before it was leaked, people thought that this would happen. Let's just talk about this. I'm just throwing things out on the floor. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think the obvious answer to that is it's not about the sanctity of life. I'm just going to cut right to the chase. It is about white birth in this country. There is a book to back that up. In 1987, an author, well, I don't know if he was an author before, but a gentleman by the name of Ben Wattenberg wrote a book called The Birth Dearth. And that was specifically saying that there was not enough white births in this country. And he came up with a couple of possibilities, like, oh, okay, you can pay women to have babies like they do in Hungary. But the problem with that is that you'd have to pay everyone. You can increase immigration. But at the time when this book was written in 1987, supposedly mostly Blacks were immigrating into the country, which I can't think of any time Blacks were immigrating into this country just because they actually allowed that. But anywho, so the next best thing then was, at this time, 60% of abortions were being had by white women. So they thought if they could stop that from happening, then the percentage of the white population would rise. And the greatest fear is that white people would lose their majority numbers in this country. So honestly, I don't think it has anything at all to do with the sanctity of life. I don't think it has anything at all to do with Christianity, even though that is what they hide behind. I think they are petrified that there are going to be fewer and fewer white people in this country.
How do you feel about that, Maura?
But my question is, if there's going to be fewer and fewer white people in the country, then why would there, I mean, it seems to me that the numbers of African American people who are having more abortions than white people. So I'm trying to understand that that concept.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know the book was written in 1987. So maybe at that time, and I know this gentleman, which I thought was so interesting, is that he was an advisor to Lyndon Johnson, who like put forth the Civil Rights Act. So I don't know exactly, what was going on with the Democratic Party at that time or the Johnson administration, but I do know for a fact that this book was written, and it was about specifically the dwindling numbers of white births in this country. And at that time, the statistics were that 60% of the abortions were being had by white women.
That's interesting. That's interesting. What's your take on it, Rhonda?
Well, as far as Roe versus Wade, I don't have a uterus in this fight. Well, I have a uterus, but it's on the shelf because I had it removed. This thing has nothing to do with Black people. It absolutely has nothing to do with Black people. I have not read the source that STAH so eloquently quoted, but I do know that Frances Cress Wesley said this exact same thing, that the white fear of erasure is a real thing. And she predicted this decades ago, that they would be losing their numbers, that they are definitely in fear of their numbers going down. And I just saw on social media where some white women actually are being sterilized, are getting sterilized because they don't want to have to deal with being stopped by a random law enforcement being asked, when was your last period? I mean, I think the whole thing is really ridiculous, especially, I feel sorry for all these young girls who are putting all their period information on apps, and now they're going to have all of this evidence against themselves when they have to go into court. They're going to have all of that stuff up in the cloud talking about, were you spotting, were you clotting, were you bleeding?
Right, yeah. Yeah, that is that's something to really think about. It's about control, it's about monitoring the hormones,
absolutely,
what have you. But do you all think, because of what Clarence Thomas said about contraception, the possibility of contraception and same-sex marriage, do you all think that may happen? Although,
what did he say about contraception?
I believe he said that
that should be the next thing looked at.
They will look at that, and also same-sex marriage. By banning abortion, is opening the door for regulating just how you live.
I have to tell you, I do admire the Republican tenacity, the Republican ability to stick together and stay on code. These people have been fighting for this for decades, ever since the rulings came in, and they continue to push. They pushed and they pushed, and they are getting everything that they want. They play a long game. They play a long game, and the Democrats just shuffle along and act all surprised when they have been told exactly what their their opponents had planned all along. I mean, all of these things have been in the target, have been in the crosshairs, and once they got the courts all stacked up with those liars, with all of those liars that they put in, saying, "Oh, this is settled. Oh, this isn't going to come up."
Yeah,
they're just doing whatever they want.
Yeah.
So, what do you have to say, Maury? You said something about you don't think it's a white person's problem because there are more Black people that are having it?
There are, I mean, statistically, it seems that there are more Black people that are having abortions than white people. Now, if that's incorrect, I'm sure there are plenty of sources that will disprove that, and maybe that's true. But I do think that it can't be this extreme. I think that there's a middle ground as far as, we protecting and advocating for the sanctity of life, but not being intrusive to the point where you can tell someone when and where to create one. Like Tupac said, like we have, like, you cannot tell a woman when and where to create one. It's like, that's just way intrusive. There has to be some respect for women. There has to be respect for mothers, and understanding that, you can't dictate when a woman is supposed to procreate. They're just that's God's work, and to say to demand to know everything about what's going on in someone's uterus is just very intrusive. And as Kamala Harris said, I mean, are there any laws that dictate the male body? So I think that there has to be a middle ground here. We can still respect life. We can respect a woman's rights by education and support, but not to be intrusive to their detriment. And that I don't think is okay at all.
Well, you made a point there by saying that there are more Black women, more Black females, women that are having abortions according to the statistics than white women. But when I was preparing for this topic, I couldn't find any up-to-date, reliable statistics. So it's telling me that
I don't believe that we are having them more. And in fact, white women have always been able to have abortions. When I was in high school, I was reading about women traveling to London and Puerto Rico and flying here and there to get their abortions. And even now, in this day now, rich people, white people who want to get those kinds of procedures done will be able to do it. I don't believe that it is that more Black women are having it done. I think that is a propaganda talking point to make us think that's going on, because they are afraid of our numbers rising.
I agree with you, Rhonda. Actually, I think they wish that would be the case.
There you go.
But I remember when I was a junior in high school, I remember a woman said to me, a classmate had said to me, she was also a junior, that she had had an abortion. And actually, let me correct that. I was a freshman and I didn't even know what an abortion was. And here was a 16-year-old girl, a white woman, blonde hair, blue-eyed. I went to high school in the Pacific Northwest. And she was telling me at that time that she had had an abortion. So the whole idea of Black people having more abortions, I agree with you, Rhonda. I don't think that's the case at all, because if it was, I don't think they'd make such a big deal about trying so hard to prevent women from getting one.
Besides the fact that we suffer the most from mortality, giving birth, the children dying and the mothers dying in the birthing process.
Okay, all right. So let's I want the viewers to know who you are and what's coming up, what you all are doing. Let's start with you, Rhonda.
Well, I am just so excited because I just directed a musical piece for the Berklee College of Music here in New York City. It was called Stevie and the Infinite Scroll. And the writers were wonderful, the actors were wonderful, and I really loved having the opportunity to direct a musical. I love doing Politipod podcast. We have new episodes all the time on SoundCloud that is fun with government and politics. I love contributing to that. And my latest sketch is called Cop compromise where, that is a takeoff on that real situation of two law enforcement officers arguing over who's going to have the turf of a traffic stopping and giving out tickets. I love doing John Fugelsang's show on Sirius XM radio. The hashtag is Handsome Mondays. I'm with John Fugelsang on Sirius XM every Monday night around 10:15, and it's very exciting. We do topical
politics and all that. Yeah. Okay.
Information. And then I also love singing with Grooving on a Sunday, the longest running cabaret variety show in New York City. So
you're doing a lot of stuff. Maury, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm working on advocating for something called Letter to Legislation. It is about, women's rights go beyond our bodies, and it also talks about domestic violence. So we're dealing with domestic violence, children being separated from their parents, injustice in the courtrooms, ACS, everything, a 24-hour justice center. So it's called Letter to Legislation, and it's something that really pressing upon our legislators to put and enact into law. So to protect women's rights. And we've had, Asia Johnson, a young lady was just lost her life.
Wow.
There's been so many things that happened over the pandemic. So this is about protecting women's lives, protecting their rights, and giving them the opportunity to succeed and to continue to do well in their lives and live up to their full potential.
Thank you. All right. Okay. Star Davis, what's happening with you?
Oh my. Okay. It's not going to take quite that long. I hate to say it. So UCAN Media is working on another issue of UCAN Magazine, which we've been doing for the past 9 years. That's kind of my passion project. So we're working on an issue of that. And we're also working on a documentary called She Gave Me My Name. And it's it's kind of a personal story, and in connection with VPAD Media and Theo Imagery, we're in development to do this documentary.
Oh wow, great. I can't wait to see it. I just want to let you all know what I'm doing. Whose Side Are You On? The play I did before COVID. It was a musical that I produced and directed. I'm looking forward to doing it again in the fall of 2022. And I'm just talking to politicians and church people and trying to get it done. And I would say I'm cautiously optimistic it will get done, if not 22, sometime early 2023. And we have a great musical composer, Steve Wallace. Very good. Has been in the business for a while. And I'm just looking forward to working with him again. So, hey, let's go to what everybody's talking about. Well, that's been dominating the news every Thursday, is the January 6th committee. Now, I've been looking at this off and on, seeing the passion and of the fellow Republicans that are saying all these things about Trump, how he could have stopped it, how he instigated it, how he did not listen. And I'm wondering to myself, what's the point? What's the point of this committee? Because I feel, like Monique would do in Precious, I feel in my heart that he ain't going to jail. There will be no consequences of his actions. Maybe the people around him. And I say that because the people that stormed the Capitol, their sentencing was not all that, and they probably later on will get probably on probation. So tell me I'm wrong. Tell me.
I want you to be wrong. I want you to be wrong. If nothing else, I'm actually, so I put it on mute. I'm no longer watching them, but there's actually a hearing on right now.
Yes.
About this particular hearing is about what Trump was doing his activity while all of this was taking place, and his inner circle, begging him to intervene, to do something, to try and stop this madness that was going on. I'm praying that you were wrong, that I would love for the man to be indicted and brought up on criminal charges. That might be a far stretch. I saw the look that you gave me, Rhonda, that you don't think that's going to happen. But I would love that. But if nothing else, I appreciate the fact that this is now a part of history. It is documented. People have gotten up there, taken an oath to tell the truth, and have testified to his absolutely ridiculous behavior. And those who are close to him, who really thought they could just seize power like that and prevent the peaceful transfer of power. So if nothing else, at least it's documented, and we can all see the stuff that went on.
You so beautiful and so intelligent and so eloquent, but I just gotta say, slavery was also documented. Slavery was documented, and now these people are trying to talk about it was involuntary relocation.
Okay, you know what? Don't get me started on that.
So,
okay,
I'm not gonna
don't get me started on that. Please.
I'm not gonna let this political theater, which has been ongoing, get me all excited, because I remember how they tried to work my nerves with the Mueller report. And the next thing you know, the Mueller report comes out and says, well, we can't convict anybody for anything.
That was a huge.
So I'm not falling for the okie doke. I'm sorry.
How about you, Maury? What you say, Maury?
It should have never happened in the first place. I mean, really.
You're talking about the attack on?
Yes, that should not have happened. It was messy. It was.
Oh, you talking
deadly?
Oh, so are you saying that the Capitol Police should have done more, or they should have gotten back up?
I just think that it should not have been incited in the first place.
So you think it was strong?
If you wanted to contest the election, there are other ways to do it than that. And I just don't think that should have been one of the ways that shouldn't have happened.
Well, Obama said that, Trump, before Trump was elected, Trump did not have actually the mental capacity to be president. He can't do that. He was like pleading to us or telling us that this is not the job for this man. And
he said specifically he was uniquely unqualified.
Okay.
Is how he put it.
But you got to understand, he may have been uniquely unqualified to be president, but he is absolutely bound and determined and qualified to be an authoritarian dictator. And that is what he was doing on January 6th, fomenting the foundation for his authoritarian leadership. He told those people to go march up there, and he said, I was going to march with you. It was only some of the people keeping him from doing it was why he wasn't there. And he did, and he watched with relish as they destroyed property, injured law enforcement, breached the Capitol, and it had to be insisted that he say something after he relished over people destroying America right in front of our eyes by his direction.
He wanted to be there. He tried his best to be there, and it was only because his Secret Service detail was actually doing their jobs and just insisted that he was not going to be a part of that mob.
Don't even tell me about no Secret Service, Star. Those people can't find January 5 and 6 text messages.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because they're all about protecting him. So they were doing their job that day to protect him, right? Even though he knew they were armed, and he said, it's okay that they're armed because they're not here to hurt me.
Yeah.
Right? That was sworn testimony.
It's amazing. What's amazing about this whole thing is that I was surprised that the Capitol Police really did not shoot people. I mean, they shot one person, and it's sad that they had to go there, but I just thought they would have fought more.
Teacher,
they were outnumbered.
Instructed not to have more people there to protect that situation. And if in any other situation, any other group, especially a Black group, had a permit to be there in Washington, there would have been many police, national
Black Lives Matter
there.
Come on, Rhonda. Now, you know, for the Black Lives Matter protests, they had the National Guard all over the place. And what was the statistics on that? It was 93% peaceful, but they had the National Guard out there in full force, prepared for something to happen because it was Black Lives Matter protests, right? So
yes.
Somebody,
and the people who were causing the problem in the Black Lives Matter protests were white folks going around spray painting and trying to make believe they were Antifa. No.
Come on now. Come on. And by the way, let's just get this straight. That whole Antifa thing, the meaning of Antifa is anti-fascist. Okay? So actually, there is nothing wrong with that name, anti-fascist.
Hey, we gotta close the show. Like I said again, thank you all for watching Sister Talk TV show, and thank you all for coming to Sister Talk TV show to talk about hot topics. I am Deetra Kelsey, and as always, I am wishing you peace, love, and remember to stay in the light.
Something on your mind anytime. I'm here to listen. Sister Talk. When you need someone who understands, I know what you're missing. Sister Talk. No matter what you're going through, don't worry, I ain't going nowhere. Sister Talk. If you ever feel alone, say the word, I'll be right there. Sister Talk. Sister, 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 sister talk. Sister, 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 sister talk. Sister, 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 sister talk. Sister, sister, sister. Ooh, sister talk.